I want to welcome everybody out to the first episode of Random Wisdom. I am your host, Tunes. Um, I hail from New Orleans, Louisiana, the Ninth Ward to be exact. On this opening episode, um, I want to tell y'all a little bit about myself, um, how this all started, um, and how we get here today. Um, this podcast is going to be one of those podcasts where you hear a ton of different um, opinions, facts. Um, you'll get a ton of information about different things. It's really random wisdom. Um, this podcast will embody every single thing that I've ever encountered in life and that may encounter in the future. Um, Everything that I've learned on the way in my journey. That's what this podcast will represent. Um, I'll use this to heal. I'll use this to medicate. I'll use this to um, help. I'll use this to spread positivity, knowledge, wisdom, freedom, and understanding. I'll use this platform to share laughs. I'll use this platform to do everything possible to push uh, Black people forward, but for the most part, push the entire human race forward. I look forward to sharing this journey with all the listeners. I look forward to being a part of your daily routine. Um, I thank you for coming, and we're gonna have a great show today. So, what I wanted to do is use this first show to shed light on who I am. Um, like I said in the opening, I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. I grew up in the lower Ninth Ward section of New Orleans. Um, Poverty, drug dealing, prostitution, low income, welfare, shit like that. My parents, they were working people. I seen my mom get up every day and go to a government job. It was her dream, as a youth growing up to have a government job. That was the pinnacle of success for you know blacks at that time. She had worked her way up, you know, um, got herself in a corporate position, and you know she shedded light on the world by doing her part in that world. Um, but yeah, so I grew up like that. My mother, like I said, she was, corporate. My dad, um, he had jobs here and there. They actually both met at a naval base. I think he was doing some type of work at the naval base, and she had just started working there, and they, met each other, and yeah, things happened from there. They met about, I'm gonna say about, around 85, something like that. Around 85, something like that. I want to say my numbers might be off, but I'm gonna have my dad on here and both my mom on here at some point um to talk about their relationship. But yeah, I think they met around like 85, and they started dating. They wound up having my brother um uh at about 89. Yeah, they had him at 89, and things kind of happened from there. Me and my brother 15 months apart, so literally right after they had him, they had me. I was born in 90, and life started there. My early recollection of childhood, um, it was fun, like I didn't know we were poor until a certain point. Within my childhood, I figured out that they had people who were a little bit more fortunate than we were. But yeah, my early memories, man, it was just fun growing up and just being around um the neighborhood and seeing different shit and you know, sports and you know, shit, everything, school, everything was just, amazing. Like I didn't know we were poor, like I said, until a certain point. And at that point, when I realized that we lived in poverty, um, Mark Morial was the mayor in the city at the time. Um, a friend of my mom's, um, somehow they knew like his wife, Michelle Miller, and we happened to go to their home. Now, this is my early recollection of realizing that we were less fortunate, right? So we go to their home for some reason. And something about it to me, seeing people who are on TV just hit a little different in the 90s. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but uh yeah, so we went to their we went to their house and pardon me, I'm high right now. So I'm telling y'all the story while I'm high and yeah. But we went to their home and I seen stuff that we didn't have in our home. It was like going to a museum. Like it was like going to a museum and going to that museum, I realized that wow, we don't have these artifacts in my house. Now I probably was about 9, 8, 9 years old. Um, and I'll tell y'all why me being like 8, 9 years old was important at that time, because that's kind of like the time I actually came to, and this is bold to say, but universal consciousness. Um, like I think I really came to universal consciousness at 9 when I really put my brain to it. But at that particular time, I noticed they had things, furniture, pictures, art, utensils, everything that clothes that we didn't have. So after that experience, I go back home. I'm like, wow, okay. I don't know what I just saw, but I know that left a stain on my brain. I was supposed to see that for some reason. And maybe around that same time, there's a gentleman from uptown New Orleans that is bubbling in hip hop. His name was Percy Miller. To the world, he was known as Master P. I seen Master P on TV, and my mind was altered since then. I had just saw Mark Moriel's home. This is my first inclination of black wealth also. So I'm like, okay, I'm equivalating that. I know everything that we have to buy, at least at 9, we have to pay money for it. So that means if they have this, then they may have a lot more money than us. So I started to put that together and I seen Master P and I knew he had more money than Mark Morial. At least it was portrayed to me that he did. And man, to see a person that looked like me that's wearing the same clothes as the people in the neighborhood, the people that I see on a daily basis. I didn't see people in suits. I didn't see people in uh you know designer clothes and this chic type of clothing. I saw people, and my mom, she wore like dress clothes or what you would consider corporate America type clothes back in the 90s. Look, like how they used to wear on Boomerang and shit. My mom would used, wear those types of clothes. Like she would always have a new pair of pumps that she went got from a store or some shit like that when I was a kid. And that was my only idea of clothing. But I saw Master P, man, and it was like, wow, this dude is the god. I mean, Cartier frames um, with camouflage, gold teeth, a mouth full of gold teeth, not articulating not a word. He using ebonics. He using the same type of words that I'm hearing around the neighborhood, right? So I'm like, wow, I want to be like him. Now, growing up, my pops, he was a young man in the 50s and 60s and shit like that. My dad is currently like 70, 74 or something like that, 74 years old, right? So he was a kid in like the 50s, 60s, blah, blah, blah. So he was very into uh civil rights, political leaders, and Muhammad Ali, Stokely Carmichael, Rap H. Brown. His Rolodex of people who fought for black people was deep. Like, and he made sure as a kid he taught that to me and my brother. Um, I just remember my earliest memories of doing book reports with my dad about different political figures within the black community. I've had to do projects on Angela Davis, Minister Louis Farrakhan, you name it. What's the gentleman that can't think of his name right now, but it'll come to me. But a lot of people, man, he just had us doing projects based on their lives and learning about our blackness. Like my dad told me as a kid, it's God first and then your blackness. It's God first and then your blackness. And that shit stuck with me, man. Um that shit really like stuck with me. Till this day I credit who I am as a black man and how I feel about my blackness and having confidence in being black. I credit it to my dad. Like he never made me feel inferior. He never told me what they say is true about you. It's like they're wrong. You're not that, you know. He was a guy. He was in Vietnam, right? So story about my dad. My dad, he was a well-known high school football player in Kentwood, Louisiana area. Um, he was very well known. Everybody knew who he was. He broke a lot of records at the school that he went to. But where his story gets amazing is when he went to college. Um, so my dad got scholarships from a ton of different schools. But like I said, he grew up in an era where it was Jim Crow laws and um, segregation. So he took it within himself to say, I'm going to go to a black college. And he decided to go to Jackson State. At that same time, another brother was going to Jackson State by the name of Walter Payton. They both met each other. They shared a bond. My dad was playing corner and Walter was playing running back at the time. And Walter had moves. Walter had speed. Walter had agility. Walter had awareness on the field. But the one thing that Walter could do is kind of glide his way nicely through the pockets, the holes, and he just looked like he moonwalking with the football. And my dad gave him the nickname that everybody knows today, which is Sweetness. My dad gave Walter Payton his nickname. And I want to go on record saying that my dad gave Walter Payton the nickname Sweetness. Um, so they would play, they did what they did. Obviously, Walter Payton was drafted, and my dad makes a joke that he was also drafted, but he was drafted into the Vietnam War. And there, I mean, we all know the stories of the Vietnam War. I want to get my dad on here, and I want him to share his personal stories about the Vietnam War. Um, you know, cause those people are great survivors. They went through something that um transitioned the black people into a different space. Um, I mean, you had brothers going in, and then something else coming out. Um, you went fought this war. It's as I look back on it, it's like, damn, they manipulated the the US government manipulated the the drive of black men with the Vietnam War. They broke it down. They killed the momentum of black men after the Vietnam War. And I want to get my dad on here at some point to share his story, but um, that's his story, man. And yeah, he would just teach us about different black people. And to this day, I know about tons of different black leaders and black people who've done things that um, you wouldn't even be taught about in a regular public school. So yeah, just growing up was interesting. Growing up was real interesting in New Orleans. We saw a lot. Like we had Master P, and shortly after that, Cash Money took over for the 99 and the 2000. They had a major influence on our city. Um, Even bounce music. Like I remember growing up as a kid, like bounce music, it was at every party, and it still is. Like it's no different nowadays. It's at every party. It's at every function, every single thing that we do as New Orleanians is rooted in bounce. Like we have a certain type of bounce when we talk. Everything that we do, everything that we say is rooted in that music. And yeah, man, it was very culture shocking um and unbelievable as a kid, some of the things that we would see. But growing up, I got addicted to hip hop, man. Like I love that shit, man. I fell in love with hip hop. So like my first memories of hip hop is um early Tupac, a lot of like Keep Your Head Up. And I remember like music, like even outside of hip hop, my mom she would listen to Earth, Wind and Fire, Teddy Pendergrass, um, Anita Baker, Marvin Gaye, Maxwell. My dad, he was more in the funk, so he would like Slide in the Family Stone, Parliament, James Brown. James Brown is his favorite. Like my dad would just bust out and start dancing anytime he hear James Brown, still to this day. Um, but yeah, like he would listen to funk. So I had different types of ranges of music that I would listen to. And when I would go to friends' house and shit, they would be playing rap. Like my parents kind of listened to rap, but rap that was on the radio. Like I didn't have rap albums inside of my actual home. We had R&B, like the groups I named and stuff like that, but nothing close to rap. So music was super important kind of in my household. Now that I think about it, really got my parents through the day. I would watch my parents listen to music and let it take them to a new place. I saw the feeling that it gave them. Um, Man, like music was an incredible thing to see what it did in the neighborhoods, in the community. And just the impact that it had on people. I knew the impact it had in my house, and I knew the impact that it had on people when I would go outside and hear bounce music or hear Cash Money. As soon as you hit a violin on, back that ass up, like, I you would see that impact. Like you when you heard Make 'em Say, like, I seen what that did in the community. Um, it was very interesting to see. Um, but it gave me a sense of I want to do that. How do I do that? Because like I said, I seen Mark Morial and Master P at a time. So that's two of the things that I'm going through at the particular time. So I see a black man who's the mayor. He has a positive impact politically. Um, and if you differ that now, that's, I totally understand. But he had a positive impact for me, politically, and Master P was a black entertainer doing something independent. So I saw that, and I gravitated to it, and I wanted to know how could I do that. So maybe like few years later, I probably was about 11 or 12. Um, my brother, he's in maybe like what, uh, seventh grade at the time. About yeah, about now I want to say probably was in about eighth grade at the time. I'm in the sixth, about to go to the seventh, right? And he comes home one day and he like, I started rapping. I'm like, word. Now, mind you, I was a kid. Like I wasn't as good at basketball, football and shit. They would pick me and shit. I could do this shit. Like I have like a little highlight every now and then, but I wasn't nice. You know what I'm saying? I played basketball. I played like Dennis Rodman. You feel me? At 10 years old, ain't nobody fucking with Dennis Rodman. Everybody fucking with Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and Tim Hardaway and Penny Hardaway and shit like that. You play like Dennis Rodman, you don't get your goof ass off the court with that stupid ass shit. So I was one of them type of niggas. So yeah, and my brother came home and he was like, "Man, I'm rapping." And I'm like, "Yeah, nigga, you rapping, huh?" Yeah. Like it had all clicked in my head. Like I like, yeah, this motherfucker about to teach me how to rap, about to teach me how to be like Master P. So he taught me. And he taught me the ins and outs. This how you do this. This how you write bars. This, like, you gotta rhyme this word like this. Like you gotta do it like this. And man, I figured that shit out, and that shit like changed my life. I had always had a love for words and shit, stories, um, entertaining, like talking on a podium in front of people on a microphone. Like I wasn't the kid that would always do it, but I was always intrigued with it. I was like a kid, if I know how to do it, then I'm gonna do it. But I was kind of like shy at the same time. And then people was weird. Like I always thought people was weird, even as a child. Like niggas just weird. Like so I used to always be kind of guarded as a kid and shit. So, you know, I didn't know if I could actually do rap, but I wind up actually getting into rap, and I fell in love with it. And um I'm an artist. I've been an artist now for years. Yeah, about 20 years now, as I do this recording. About 20 years now. Um Man, I released maybe what, about 8 projects over the 20 years, but probably hundreds of songs over the 20 years. Um, and this is what I do now. Um, I love the genre of rap, hip hop. Hip hop is black renaissance. Black plight, Black success, Black excellence. Um, it's everything for Black people. It's Black skin. And I'm grateful to be a part of hip hop. Um, man, I just kind of gave y'all kind of like my life story. Almost shit. It's crazy, but nah. This is random wisdom. There's gonna be a lot of stories being told. There's gonna be a lot of shit being shared. Um, like I said at the beginning, I just hope I could be a intricate part in your day. I hope that I could do something for you. I hope my words could inspire you. And most of all, I hope you have a peaceful day. This is Random Wisdom. I'm Tunes. Peace out.